Oh God, I can't sleep. Then it's time for you to come into the Insomnia Hour.
Hollywood hills, glamour slaves out seeking thrills, black mirrors with no reflections, white lines drawn to perfection, stainless steel slicing through flesh, fading senses, you can't speak for breath, thrill seekers on a murder spree. K-I-L-L-I-N-G. First comes lust, then comes singer, then drops the body of another dead stranger. First comes lust, then comes singer, then drops the body of another dead stranger. First comes lust, then comes singer, then drops the body of another dead stranger. I don't know why they must die. Bleeding out in the light of day as the stars come out to play. Stiff, rotting carcasses, lost souls in a black abyss. Stainless steel, you're slicing through flesh, fading senses, you're gasping for breath. Thrill seekers on a murder spree. K-I-L-L-I-N-G. First comes lust, then comes singer, then drops the body of another dead stranger. First comes lust, then comes singer, then drops the body of another dead stranger. First comes lust, then comes singer, then drops the body of another dead stranger. I don't know why they must die. From a lack of breath, victim in this game of death, satiated as I watch you bleed. K-I-L-L-I-N-G. Stainless steel, slicing through flesh, fading senses, you're gasping for breath. Thrill seekers on a murder spree. Now it's time to die for me. First comes lust, then comes singer, then drops the body of another dead stranger. First comes lust, then comes singer, then drops the body of another dead stranger. First comes lust, then comes singer, then drops the body of another dead stranger. I don't know why they must die.
So I am with Celebrity Stalker. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So why don't you take a moment and to introduce yourself and your positions?
All right, I'm Jason. I play bass and I'm the lead singer.
This is Charlie, and I am sitting down, and I'm the drummer.
This is Larry. I'm standing, and I'm the guitar player.
Nice to meet you guys. I'm so excited to have you on the show. And a little bit about yourself is you guys are a punk metal crossover band from Southern California. And for listeners who do not know what a crossover band is, can you explain that?
I think the best way to explain it is when your music inspiration and the way the songs come out kind of cross into two genres. And it's not like being in two separate metal genres. It's like two distinctly different genres. We have a very metal base, but a lot of the root of our songwriting has a punk feel. It's the best way to explain it. It's skate metal. for lack of a better word.
Which is very intriguing to me that you say that, especially writing a song. And I know the team writing the song is you, Larry, and Jason. And, of course, how do you guys write your music? Like, do you write your music first, or do you guys powwow together and you come up with a tempo and then you add your lyrics?
We usually take Justin Bieber songs and play them backwards as a foundation.
There you go. Hence why the star symbolism in the Celebrity Stalkers. I got it.
I'll let our lead singer kind of break down some of our songwriting process.
Yeah, no, what Chuck said is our starting point, and he's not lying. We actually do. It's really hard to get CDs to play backwards. You have to get software and everything, so it's a delicate process to actually get this done. But that's our launching point, more or less.
Oh, Justin Bieber? I'm sure he'll be happy to know this.
Yes, no, totally. Of course, I'm kidding, but it's kind of Larry and I have been playing together for quite a long time, and it's there's many different
since
ways
high school, I read.
Yes, exactly, and so there's a lot of ways that songs come about. So sometimes it will be a brainstorming session, as you mentioned, where we sit down and we're like, hey, we kind of want to write a new thing, and maybe Larry's already written a riff, or maybe I've got an inkling for even just a song title or a chorus or just one line maybe. Mm-hmm. And then we'll sit down and we'll brainstorm and kind of come up with something, either at Charlie's house or, at somebody's house where we're just in a bedroom kind of writing stuff, or at the studio. We do a lot of brainstorming outside the studio. Like,
I think that's an awesome idea, though.
It's a little bit more, we're not under the pressure of any kind of money for time, so it gives us a little bit more time to be flexible, and we're not playing at full volume, so we can kind of, relate to what's going on a little bit better as well, and find dynamics to the song that maybe we don't always find when we're blasting in rehearsals. But right. Again, back to the writing process, it's a hodgepodge of everything. We've been writing together for so long that, so there's the brainstorming way of doing writing a song, and then there's I might come up with some. I don't normally write the music or the riffs. I'm usually the lyricist, but I might come up with some riffs and then put a little song together and then bring it to Larry. And Larry's like, oh, and he puts the finishing touches and
is he just like that? Oh,
I'm always
and we'll expand like my ideas into a full, more fully realized. And I'll may already have a lyrical, flow for it as well. So it's kind of not a complete song, but a song that needs to be finished. And vice versa, Larry will do the same. He'll come up with the same kind of thing, and maybe it's just a guitar riff, and he comes in, and then we smash in some lyrics and freestyle some stuff, and boom, there's a song. Or Larry
I just love that creative force that you guys work out there.
It's hard to say. There's not, and I'm sure every band and every musician kind of has the similar story. I'm not sure anybody has a one way of writing a song. You get inspired and you find things in many different ways and places when working together and when working by yourself. So I feel like, like most artists in this medium, you kind of have a million ways you write a song. Some people may be a little bit more formula oriented than us, and they're like, this is how we do it. And we go in the studio and we have 12 ideas or 120 ideas, and we smash, and but that's not really us. Our style is kind of been to keep the creative
which is why I want to ask you this, Jason.
Yes.
Is what is in your face vocals? I asked Larry this, but I didn't want him really to give me the full answer. So can you answer what that is?
Well, I've always felt like there's a sardonic and sarcastic take to a lot of our stuff. This new record maybe doesn't have as much sarcasm to it. I think we're a little bit of a matter of a fact on this record. And non-intentionally, it wasn't like it wasn't a formula, like here we're going to be a little bit more direct and not so cheeky about what we write about. I like sarcasm, so
well, I guess if anybody has it, and I'm going to drop some links down when I release this interview, I want people to see your stage performance. It is so powerful, high energy. You really have great dynamic together. And I get one of the videos I saw, it was a very small stage, but you guys still kept, being able to move without bumping into each other. It was great.
Yeah, we've definitely, it's funny, we could pull out some old footage from, back in the day. Jason and I because we work on the songs together. We know where the breaks are. We feel the song. We don't choreograph anything. We don't. It's not like we pay attention to what we're doing on stage. But
interesting. So you don't like pre-plan it. You just go out there.
No. And the music actually, when you go back and watch the video, it looks like Jason and Larry. Oh wow, did they plan that movement or did they mean to do that? And it's like no, it's just the song and the music and the feeling we get when we're on stage. That and we've been playing together for so long. That, a couple shows recently, I think I've knocked into Jason on some small stages.
Not Charlie, though, right?
Yeah, no.
That's why
Charlie keeps running into me all the time.
But, hey, real quick, one thing to go back to the songwriting process, and, and this is for all the bands out there, and like Jason said, some have formulas, some their story may sound just like ours. Because we have like two creative entities in the band between myself and Jason, there are the brainstorm times. There are the times where a nugget comes in. But there's also been times where almost completely realized ideas have come in. And when Jason made that comment, like Larry goes, oh, yeah, I do. Because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to write songs and make
Yes, it is.
And anytime one of us shows up with almost a fully realized idea, we've just accelerated the process. We've just put us in a position where now we're as a group, with Charlie. We're not talking about Charlie right now, and we really need to, because I write a lot of riffs, and I have ideas from beginning song. And then when I get with the drummer, those ideas have to morph, and they have to change. And that's when the band really kicks into being the band, is when we do get in there. It doesn't matter who wrote what. When Celebrity Stalker produces a song, it is a Celebrity Stalker produced song. There is an element in every one of those songs that all three of us put something into, no matter who carried a bulk of the work. And that is one of the things that keeps us going. I run into a lot of bands where guys have been in 5, 6 different bands, and they're constantly searching for that magic. And the thing with this band, and through the ups, the downs, the ins, the outs, the anguish, the anger, the arguing, we stick together for one reason, and that reason is we believe in the music and we believe in each other. And when we get on that stage together, we put ourselves up there with anyone, and we will entertain the shit out of you, and we will send you home fulfilled.
I agree with that. So let me get into the concept of your Celebrity Stalker. How did you guys all get together? What was the purpose and meaning of the Celebrity Stalker name? And is your band a theme storytelling, or is it just music that you feel daily and you put it together? Because I know Thrill Seekers is your first album, correct?
Yes. Yeah, we had an EP that came out 2 years ago titled Celebrity Stalker EP. It's up on Bandcamp. Go download it, listen to it while you can, because that will be coming down real soon, because we are...
I just want people to know that when you click the button, it says get destroyed. So if you really want this album, you must be destroyed to understand it. Right? I like it.
Already you will be.
Right. So give me the foundation of Celebrity Stalker.
Okay, so let me tell you something that's kind of funny. So I'm a freshman in high school. I've been
Was that Larry?
Wait,
no, this guys going deep.
Yeah, we're gonna go deep for a split second.
All right.
That's Larry talking now. This is
okay. Cut the wound, Larry. Let it open.
So this is Larry. Started playing guitar when I was 9 years old. Put it down. Picked it back up when I was in 7th grade. Made an oath to myself that I was going to be a rock star and never give up. When I became I didn't start a band in junior high. I was just I was in the laboratory working on my skills. Still had a long way to go when I met Jason. But the way this relationship started was the park next to our high school, where everyone would hang out after school. I identified Jason and another friend of his who was a Jason, and I just asked them I just asked them if they played an instrument, and they both said they played bass. And I said, I play guitar, and we should talk sometime. And, I'm just the kid. I'm the freshman. They're
I'm sorry.
sophomore.
Can I stop for 1 second?
Yeah.
This is so funny because I've heard Larry tell the story, but maybe I'm just hearing this for the first time. But he picked the right Jason. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say. When he said 2 bass players named Jason, I'm like, oh,
you have
right.
chosen wisely.
Yes, I did.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to put it in there before the end. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, what's funny about Jason making that comment is he had a lot of guitar players around him, and I think he chose wisely too, and that's why we've been a songwriting team for so long, and we drive each other nuts, and we're friggin' like a married couple, and we argue over the simplest shit, but at the end of the day, when the lights go down and the music turns up, you would never know that there was anything disharmonious ever going on with us. And it started as a freshman kid asking a sophomore, hey, you want to jam? And it took a little while. I was the new kid. You know what I mean? It took a little while. We built that relationship, and by the time high school was done, we had 2 songs written. We decided to start a band. That band, you know, we were in it for a while, and then we stepped aside from that band and started a new band and put out an ad for a drummer. I was living in Huntington Beach. A guy named Charlie Moffat showed up at my house. I'm going to hand it over to Charlie so he can finish the story of Celebrity Stalker from here, because I'm sure he might regret his decision.
He's like, I did not choose wisely.
I took the wrong Larry. So back in the days of, I think, penny savers or whatever the
recycler, right?
Whatever the print ad that came out where you found bands, answered one of those ads because I was done with school and ready to start playing again. So yeah, met these guys, figured out their whole set list, and I think within a month or two we were already playing our first shows. That was a slightly different band configuration, personnel configuration. So we dropped one of those people and kept it a 3-piece, changed the name to Celebrity Stalker, and there's a fun history and story behind that, and I think that was 14-ish years ago. So we've done a lot since then and had a few ups and downs and hiatuses, but we're probably going as strong as we're definitely going stronger than we ever have before.
I definitely agree.
And to that point about going stronger, you know, when you talk about history and you talk about 14 years, think of us like a movie, and you're an author and you're in media, and you'll follow this train of thought, but we're a reboot. We're not a remake, and we're not the same band. About 2 years ago, I had we were almost putting the band to bed. We actually were. Charlie joined another band. He still wanted to play drums. I was working on the road. The band was hibernating and almost put to bed. And about 2 years ago, I was like, hell no, we are not putting this thing to bed. I rallied the troops, and we've been working our asses off the last 2 years, and the results show. You know,
I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, and we're in negotiations right now with a record label for a distribution deal. You know, the music industry's changed. You don't need the labels for the same stuff. We've already released our album. It's published. We've done everything on our own, and we're in negotiation for a distribution deal with a label. And we were ready to put the band to bed. R.I.P. Rest in peace. And we just re-energized, and here we are. And we're talking to you today because of it.
Aww. Well, I'm glad I'm the end process. Now that you have the band, you're in this process. Tell me a little about the storytelling of your album, Thrill Seekers.
Yeah, and I'll start with that, and then I'll hand it off to the guys, and they can put in their 2 cents. We've already talked about the songwriting process. We talked about 3 individuals that actually have input. When you're talking about your album's theme and ideas like that, you got 3 different individuals and 3 different ideas. I consciously sought out Jason, and in April of 2019 told him, I want to make a record, and I want it to have this theme, and I want it to have these song titles. I had ideas on what I wanted the story to be. Now, that's in my head. You still got 2 other individuals that have their own ideas also. So There was a little give and take on the story of the record.
Compromise. Mm-hmm.
Where we landed is pretty much what I wanted to get out of it, but it's what I wanted to get out of it with these 2 guys, and it made it that much better. But yes, there is a story, and it is a mirror on America. It is talking about, it's not left or right-wing politics. It's not libtard or conservacon or whatever other stupid douchey name you have for people that you don't like because they have an affiliation with a certain political party. We don't have time for
Clearly,
that.
you're not segregating. You're just
No.
simply putting a fact down, and how people absorb it, it's up to their own core.
It's just a mirror on the way people are behaving in some of the songs. We are talking about the opulence of the rich. We're talking about separation of the rich and the poor, and how poor people are looked at as like actually a parasite at this point. And just realizing that without a strong middle class, the U.S. doesn't have shit. And until we get back to a strong middle class, more U.S. manufacturing, things of that nature, then we've got a problem. And Celebrity Stalker, from my point of view, I want to shine a light on that, and I want to put a voice to it. And I want to get people out of this bipartisan crap that they're stuck in, where we're almost like at a civil war. They're idiots. There's no end game on that. The end game is you either learn to stand together or we all fail together. And that's the story I'm trying to tell. But that's Larry's story. Now I want to hand it off to Jason, because Jason has elements in there that actually add to that and compound to it, but are also a different angle. So
Of course.
So take it away, Jason.
Woo!
Yeah, I'm not sure what Larry thinks I was going to put on top of that little cake he baked, but
Well, here's
where is your passion, Jason, in this?
The name of the band is kind of, whatever. I'm not a political person. I ain't trying to tell America this or that. That's kind of Larry's a little bit more political than I am, probably because of his upbringing. So my personal take is I just like to punch people in the face with like stupid reality shit, check stuff.
Again, in your face vocals.
Whether it's talking about your mom or talking about the cops being called because there was a crazy boyfriend that murdered his whole family. And so, I mean, my lyrics are all over the place, and they're mostly shock value. There's not. I'm not trying to be a super realist in what I have to.
You're not masking the reality. You're just
but
voicing
we have a song called Your Mom. It's kind of a joke. It's very sarcastic, but I'm serious when I'm talking about it. You know what I'm saying? I take it 100% serious. But it's supposed to be fun and whatnot. And as far as this record goes, there's a lot of lyrics on it that are dark and weird and twisted and whatnot. And I have a lot of fun writing those. And maybe it's not as sarcastic or as tilted in that direction as I normally write, which is fine because Celebrity Stalker, is a band of many different faces, and that is evident in the songwriting. And that's what
being a celebrity is.
Right.
A person of many faces.
Exactly. So that's kind of why, sometimes we wear masks and we kind of embody this kind of Celebrity Stalker image, though we're not stalkers, we're not enamored with celebrities. We are holding up a mirror, but to more than just America and its political views or manufacturing views, but also to its its fascination with gun violence and war. And we're a warlike people, and it's ridiculous in modern times and how this country's evolved into what it is sometimes. But again, I'm not trying to be a political person myself personally. Maybe that's what
you're just like having a voice to tell people how you feel
about a lot of things.
The
song Celebrity Stalker, it's kind of a love song, a very sick love song, but it kind of embodies my personal feelings of what I think.
It's called Tough Love, is what it is.
That song is not tough love. So when I was 4, I realized that I wanted to be, and so I started taking clown lessons.
No, really?
No, I'm totally kidding. Those are my one.
I was buying it. I know.
You didn't know I'm an actor, so there's a little bit.
I thought you were going to tell us you were born a poor black child.
I was like, can you do balloon tricks? Seriously.
I'm already stealing lines from George Carlin. I don't need to steal Stevie Martin's. In any event, like I said, there's a lot of dark stuff on this record, and Celebrity Stalker is one of those songs that just comes from a little of that twisted darkness. But I consider it like a love song, and it's reflective of it's really from a perspective of a celebrity stalker. Now, most of the time we don't get that literal. There's a lot of metaphorical kind of stuff, but this song's pretty It's a story upon itself, and it's not necessarily the story of the record or this or that. I think, the idea of Thrill Seekers is kind of much of what Larry had talked about, a little holding up the mirror to America and reflecting its...
Right. So his is political, yours is...
Well, it's not even separate. Like I
at
said,
the edge of your seat kind of feeling.
Certainly, yes, of course. The way, and I know Larry actually wrote the lyrics to Thrill Seeker, so his where the song originated and came from, his idea was based on a legit happening.
Right.
And the way I looked at it was a little bit more of holding up the mirror to reflect, like, just the crazy gun obsession with America, gun violence in itself in America, and creating like this Bonnie and Clyde California American Psycho couple that's just...
Yeah, that's the cover. Who was the illustration for that one? Who did the illustration for it?
Those are actually two friends of mine. They're
okay.
friends of mine, and we actually shot that at a theater in North Hollywood, and that they're really not in the middle of the street, obviously.
Right. Obviously. But it's it definitely illustrates what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I think so.
Amazing.
Maybe,
yeah.
We don't like to hold anything back. There's no metaphors going on. It's pretty literal. So
right.
I think this goes back to that in your face vocals. It's like
right.
Have it in your face. With a name like Celebrity Stalker, you got two ways to take it. You're either in the face or you're going to get all mysterious about it.
So what is Charlie's intake for his components? I mean, we heard yours.
Well,
you're not very much in a political stance, and Larry is, and where's Charlie?
Well, I don't want to
Oh, well, I'm not political, though. That's the problem. This is not political at all. This is more about people using politics to act like idiots, and I'm laughing in their face.
Yeah.
And I want to pull the rug right out from underneath all these liberals and conservatives that are destroying my country, a country that my family has gone overseas to fight for. And I got to watch all these jackasses lately go on and talk about how they want a civil war because they don't want the left or the right and they hate each other so much, not understanding this is a ship and it's sinking until everyone picks up a bucket and starts emptying some water out of here. We're going nowhere. So, no, I'm not political. I'm actually the exact opposite. Politics are killing this country. Killing it.
We're mostly anti-idiot.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I didn't mean to refer that Larry was...
Paper word. At the end of the day, I I guess very recently that I really contributed to lyrics, and that'll show up, I think, in the future. But most of my job is probably helping format and congeal all of the musical thoughts that Larry comes together with, and working on the arrangement and try to make everything cohesive and stuff like that.
Good word.
He has drum parts in mind and sometimes not. And I think it's easier when he doesn't, because he's a guitarist for a reason.
Yeah, and we didn't want to infer at all that, like, Chuck isn't part of the writing process. It's not like Larry and I sit down and here's our complete song and we're coming in and and this is how it goes, and Chuck just stay in your corner. Chuck has a great influence on what gets written. You know, even if we do come in with something in mind already,
right.
We've been playing with Chuck long enough that he influences what we're going to write before we bring it in. Just like I'm sure Larry influences me when I'm writing, and vice versa and whatnot. Larry knows my bass stylings, and he writes amazing little bass lines for me. And I'm like, fuck, awesome, you know? and vice versa. I've written songs that have opened up solos and things for him that are just amazing as well. And same thing with Chuck. He writes drum parts, and he'll bring something to the pie that we hadn't seen coming. Right. You know, I mean, it's, you know, just because Chuck doesn't sit down and write guitar riffs or a shit ton of lyrics doesn't mean he's not part of the writing process.
Oh, I would never. No, I definitely. Yeah.
Larry and I definitely champion most of those components, but it's a three-piece.
Insomnia Hour Intermission.
mirror. I am walking on a path that is clear. I am focusing my energy like the bad motherfucker I was born to be. I am creating my reality. I am everything I need to be. I am breaking down the walls inside like a phoenix from the ash as I start to rise. Elevated as I start to fly. Start to fly. Rising higher as I touch the sky.
I know there's certain songs that stand out the most. It's like the starter component of your album. So obviously you chose Thrill Seekers as the title. So I'm assuming the song Thrill Seekers is the first song. Okay,
Yes.
so we'll give a little history.
Are you asking us individually, or is this a group?
Whoever wants to stand up and take the podium.
So
Well,
go.
I was going to say, because I think if you asked us, each one of us would have a different answer as to what our favorite song is on the record and what we think represents this or that. So,
well, how about from a fan base? Have you heard a response to a certain song?
I'll let Larry handle that, because I think he's probably got his fingers on the pulse a little bit more than...
You got the finger on the red button.
Right. So the most catchy song, so the feedback we're getting as far as the song that's the most catchy, and that people like how it sounds like a pop song, but the words are just so dark, is Thrill Seekers. I get great feedback on Thrill Seekers, but the people that are telling me that's not exactly always their favorite song. So the song that I'm getting the most feedback on is American Dreams and Crime Styles of the Rich and Infamous. We call it Crime Styles of the Rich. But
give me a story of those. Tell me what they're about.
Okay, so Crime Styles of the Rich, I mean, it's pretty much in the title. You know, it's the Epsteins of the world, and it's all the corporations and the Enrons, and it's people that have power
and abuse it.
And abuse it. And they abuse it at the expense of the middle class. And again, that's where you're always going to hear me circle back to, is the middle class, because with a strong middle class, you create an environment where poor people have a rung to grab onto. They can work hard, they can go to school and get into the lower middle class, and within a generation or two, become a valuable part of the middle class. As you destroy our middle class, what you do is you make a divide that makes it so impossible for poor and less fortunate people to actually grab that rung and lift themselves up. And then what that does is it breeds a group of people that turn around and call those same people lazy or a burden, or they're the problem with America. Oh, we need a wall. Oh, we need this, we need that. No, what we need, and the only thing we will ever need, is a strong middle class. That's when America was at its best, and that's when it'll get back to its best. And
meaning compassionate and educated.
Exactly. So Crime Styles and American Dreams kind of talk about the abuse of the rich, and then American Dreams talks about the result of that abuse and the lack of better jobs and the fact that we spend all our time working now and there's less family time. We make less money, work more hours, stuff like that. So kind of where those are coming from. But it was real interesting that you asked about the songs and the feedback, because yesterday I got some feedback that kind of took me by surprise. And the feedback was, and it was from two individuals that I have respect for, and they said, I get it when I listen to this record that Thrill Seekers and American Dreams are anchoring this, and I can hear that, but those aren't the songs I like. The songs that I'm getting feedback on that people really like when it gets down into the substance and the meat of the song is Repressed, I Am, and Crime Styles. The two individuals I was talking to, they have a good read on music in general, and I'm thinking that is going to hold because when the fun and the bright, happy feeling of the music for Thrill Seekers and American Dreams fades, it's the substance that matters. And I'm going to hand it off. I know I talked a lot, but my favorite song on the whole record and the song that I put on repeat from time to time is I Am. So that is probably my favorite song, and it is not a political song. It is about, and that's what I like.
It's about self.
It's about self, and it's about self-empowerment, and it's about rising above the negativity.
And I think our culture needs that, truly.
Right.
I mean, if you're not happy with yourself, you can't make anybody else happy.
And there's a message in that, and the reason why it's called I Am, and I'll let Jason elaborate on that, but for me, I Am's the song that when I hear it, it hits me in my soul.
Thank you, Larry. That's awesome. On to you, Jason.
Well, I'm glad I hit Larry in his soul, at least lyrically. The whole song's badass. Don't get me wrong, and he helped orchestrate the music. That was that song. All right, so when we first kind of started conceptualizing the record, and we knew we were going to write songs about stalkers and corruption, and we kind of saw what direction the record was going, I kind of always had an inkling to write a song called I Am, and about some self-realization and self-empowerment, and basically having that moment of trying to rise above one's own limitations, and that's what the song is definitely about. And
because we as people are just so easily anchored by depression
entirely.
And
it's it talks about trying to find that light inside that helps that burning desire, because we can all lose it and lose focus on it, and
easily.
And that's hopefully what that song can. I know what it does for me when I listen to it, and it definitely, obviously I'm coming from a place of fiction and nonfiction in that song. It's not completely about me or my realizations as one, but maybe as a whole human race is what I'm talking about more. Is like, there's a lot of references in the record of coming together and becoming,
that's what I respect about you guys.
Becoming a people that can, respect each other and live together and love each other. And that's, you don't read that in the record, the cover. You look at the album cover, you're like, oh, these guys are singing about love and coming together. Yeah, right. And
well,
again,
I think they just look at the visual blood carefree, but I think truly if somebody is appreciative of music, they'll pick it up and they'll investigate each and every perspective. Yes, there is the hardship of evil, but there's also a hero within it, and that's yourself. You know what I mean?
That was the
hero's journey.
Hopefully the cause and effect of the song. The idea I had was that I'm glad the song fitted in where it did in the progression of the record. We didn't really try to write a rock opera or something, or really conceptualize a record, but there is a bit of, if you want to imagine a story from start to end with this record, you can kind of follow a little bit of a pathology throughout it, and we wanted to not end on a dark place. We wanted to end on a high note, as they say, Charlie.
On a redemption moment.
We want to end on a high note.
Yeah. I'm not taking that Mel Brooks reference.
All right. Anyway, so we wanted to end on a high note, and we felt like I Am, and we're super happy how powerful and how meaningful it has turned out, because that song, that's what it was meant to do. So you get this barrage of these 7 songs that are kind of beating you up with some reality, and some shit in your face, but we wanted to end with the end saying, you know, we can all rise above it, and I am anything I want to be.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and to add to that, and it's really important, is you know, he says you make your own reality, and rising above and making a difference and making a change, whether you're a political person or it's just you and your family or a relationship or a coworker relationship, you can't control your environment all the time. You can't control others. The only thing you can control is yourself, your reaction.
Right.
And I am is, for me personally, when I listen to that song, it reminds me every day that I need to be the change. It needs to start with me. And I can't point fingers at other people. It's not that it doesn't get anything accomplished. All you can do is change yourself. And if you do change yourself, you'll find that positive energy and that putting that out there and being there for other people, all of a sudden that energy starts coming back to you. So for me, I Am is it is such an important song and goes so far beyond the rest of the record because it goes straight to self. And in these times and with all these complaints, and I just ran down a laundry list of issues I have about the deterring middle class, self is really the only thing I can control. And that song keeps me on task every day.
Well, I find that the Celebrity Stalker Thrill Seekers is definitely a table, a platform of where all the issues, all the hopefulness, and all the ideology is a banquet to choose how you want to put your own plate together and build from that. Whether it's a resource or just something you just need to make it through the day, listening through your car, going home, or really self-awareness. And I think that's what I like about this unity of you guys. Literally, it's amazing.
We got something for everyone on this one.
Yes.
The album cover is based on the song Thrill Seekers, and it was going to be a very basic concept, and it wasn't a metaphor. It was just bringing to life the Thrill Seeker song. But with the artwork that Jason did, and that's the other thing about us, our creativity goes way beyond the music. Our imagery, our theme, and what we deliver for the media to back up our music. Jason anchors a lot of that for us. He is our graphic artist. He is our video editor. He is that guy. We have ideas, and we go to him, and he turns out product for us. But what he turned out on that album...
Thank you, Jason.
Yes. Thank you. But,
yes.
So when Jason started that album cover, we had an idea. I wanted this. He wanted that. We compromised on a couple elements of the album as far as how the couple is walking across that street. And it took some give and take. You know, Jason had a vision. I had a vision. And we came to this middle ground. But what he built on top of that with the imagery in the background, he actually developed a metaphor without even trying. And the metaphor for that album cover, and there is a metaphor. Those two people in the front, that is Wall Street. That is the abuse of power that they are doing. And in the background, the carnage, that's us. That's the middle class. That's America. And if you want to change that, you need to deal with those two people crossing that street.
Because they literally express ignorance as a bliss. That is exactly what those two are emphasizing. Yeah. They have no clue.
So we definitely, this album got away from us in some ways. Like I said earlier, I had a concept. I did kind of want to make it a rock opera, but that wasn't really what it was going to be. And then everything came together, even the placement of the songs, even the way it ends with I Am. This thing kind of grew on its own. It's taken on a life of its own. It's gotten away from us as a band even. It has its own, it's an entity upon itself, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. And we didn't even know it was going to do that when we started this journey to make this record.
And just to expound upon that, Art of War, which is the most epic song on there and probably way too long for radio play. Really, something we started working on 5+ years ago. And it probably would have never seen the light of day, except we thought we wanted one more song, and we pulled that out, and it basically sat unfinished for 5 years, and we figured out how to properly start it and finish it and turn it into a real song. So that wasn't intended repertoire for this album until late in the game.
And what's crazy about that song coming in late in the game, in the story of the album, that song is a key component to laying down the foundation of what we were saying. So you know, Thrill Seeker starts off with the way the rich abuse the poor for fun, you know, for slave trade, for whatever, sex slaves, all that shit. They just abuse people. Then you get into crime styles, and that's how they abuse power, and that's how they get away with it. Then you get into American Dreams, and that's kind of the result of offshoring all the jobs, lowering U.S. manufacturing, U.S. steel going under, and China buying all our scrap, things of that nature, and why we do sit in our cubes and work 8 to 5 for pennies every day and never have time with our families. And then you get into Patriot. And with Patriots, you get into once we start not having a good job, and once the middle class starts shrinking, just like in Nazi Germany and just like in many other places around the world throughout time, when there's less resource, we start looking at each other, blaming each other, hating each other, because we are all fighting for this little crumb. And that lays that out. And then want to think about, well, why don't we rise above, and why are we so hateful, and why do we have so many shootings, and why does everyone want to fight? Why is that the first answer? We're going to fight. Oh, I'll kick that dude's ass. Oh, I'll kill them. Oh, fuck those guys. Blah, blah, blah. Art of War tells you why, and it's because we are in a country that has been in a state of war or skirmish for its whole history outside of maybe 5 years. We have been involved in some form of war, and how would our people and how would our society not be a fighter society? I mean, that's how we're raised. We're all raised that way. And we do need to be that way. We do need a strong military. We do need to be a country that goes around the world and gets involved and tries to help. But at the same time, we take advantage of that too. And we go around we go around the world and take advantage of countries and take their resources. But Art of War lays out why we're so violent as a people. So those first 5 songs really tell that part of the story. And then you get into the results and into the mind of how someone behaves in America when they do have conflict or trouble. And that's when you get into Repressed and Celebrity Stalker. And then you get to the redemption moment where you realize, am I going to lower myself to be trash, like the trash I'm mad at? Or am I going to elevate myself and make myself the catalyst for change? And everyone I come in contact with, am I going to elevate them? Am I going to operate from a place of love, or am I going to operate from a place of hate? And that's the story of this album. And this album is definitely going to go long past these songs. And Jason and I have already been in talks about how do we get this into other forms of media, whether it's a book, a screenplay, a web series. This story this isn't an original concept. It's not an original concept. It's just a cohesive threading of what the issues in this country are and how they have a ripple effect that makes us hate each other even more. And if we continue to hate each other, we're going down, and we are going down fast.
Right. Well, I definitely want people to take a listen to it. I mean, what you said is such an intrigue. I think that people will feel that empowerment through listening to this music. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. Is there anybody you want to thank who contributed to this album you want to plug?
I'd like to plug Dave Klein, recording. He helped us engineer this album and has some production value. He co-produced it with us, and it's some of the best stuff that we've written, and then some of the best stuff we've recorded, and it was fun going on that journey with him. I want to thank people like Kat Monroe for for steering me towards Dave Klein and telling me I was making the right choice to go with him. And then I want to thank everybody along the way that played a role in this with us. And there's too many names to say them all. But they know who they are, and they know that we will always have a place in our heart for them.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys, really. I want everybody to know, if you go to celebritystalkertheband.com, you can see a much more in-depth bio, the music, download it, and be destroyed, show tours, and so much more, how to contact it, and support this band by buying the merch and just really sharing. I cannot, wow, you guys are so impressive. I'm just blown away.
Thank you. Thank you. We do it for the art, and we hope that some people identify with it and want to get on board with us. But at the end of the day, we do it for the art. We stay true to who we are. We're not trying to find a formula. We're not trying to take this anywhere that people don't want to go with us. And as long as we stay true to the art, I think we're going to continue to turn out great products. I
think so, too. I cannot wait to hear your next one. Are you guys writing another one? Another album?
I'm already 2 songs in, and these guys are telling me, hey, hold on, we haven't finished this record yet.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we're going to definitely next year in 2021, there will be a follow-up record, and it is going to have a theme to it. We already have our concept in line, some stuff that couldn't make it onto this record, but we will definitely continue to be a band with a message.
There's a sad sort of clanging from the clock in the hall, and the bells in the steeple too. And up in the nursery an absurd little bird is popping out to say cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. Regretfully they tell us, but firmly they compel us to say goodbye to you.